Hello everyone, happy quarantine. This is usually my busiest week of the year. It's Mother's Day today, and normally I would be doing 2 vintage fashion shows today, yesterday, often actually the first couple of weeks of May. That's our very, very busiest time with 1 or 2 shows a day. But we're in quarantine, but I'm still having hat fun. Big box, giant box just arrived for me, containing 100 vintage hats. These are part of a collection I've been purchasing towards total 1,000 vintage hats. I had already received 600 before the quarantine, before the lockdown, and had steamed them, cataloged them, etc., and was ready for more. So thankfully, this big package arrived for me today, and I just want to share with you what fun it is. I decanted the pieces into some plastic storage totes. Those are not the final home for these hats, but it's a way to get a handle on them as I go through them. Some of them will need steaming and refreshing. Just want to let you know what type of fabulous hats are in these boxes. First of all, right off the top, this one really speaks to me. This is a little sort of 1890s little Victorian hat. You can see the different types of straw on it, very basic, long before the days of air conditioning. So this would be a lovely little cool hat. You'll notice perhaps these little white threads. These are millinery threads. Here's where it starts and where it finishes, and this would secure some millinery flowers or feathers to the hat. Luckily, I have a great big bin of vintage trims, and I'll be able to recreate this the way it might have been worn in the 1890s. Now these hats are from every decade, and like I said, they were just squished in this box. I'm taking them out one at a time, and just right off the top finding some real interesting treasures. And of course for me, a lot of the joy is in finding the labels. This one, Montreal label, Chez Roland, Spécialité Chapeau Fait à la main, made by hand, St. Catherine Street, Montreal. This has already been sort of pre-archived. These hats did come from a fashion archive, and they've been hidden away for decades, which is kind of exciting to be able to acquire them because they've hitherto been unavailable to me. This one will need a little bit of steaming, but it's a really interesting high hat from the 1960s. Beautiful silk velvet under brim and crown, and this crazy metallic striped fabric. Not finished yet. Still got to have a little bit of frou-frou with the feathers. And what are these? Some little rhinestones. Oh, I see. I'm looking closely, and I see that these are 2 tiny made birds. That's something else that I find quite interesting. So, one of the things that I do is I catalog them. It's very easy for me now, after 20 years in this business, to be able to date a hat as to decade. Now these hats are all different eras, different fabrications, different styles. But what I really enjoy lately is trying to approximate the year, not just the decade, but the year. And I'm doing that by looking at old magazines, old ads, and also some great old movies. And of course, hats would span a few years if you weren't someone so fashionable that you would purchase the latest hat every season. And believe me, my mother was one of those people. But other people kept their hats. They had a treasured hat, or a well-made hat, very expensive. They might wear it for a few years and it would stay in style. So that's what I'm up to, and I hope you're having as much fun. If you're a hat collector, if you're just delving into it, if you're looking for a hat to purchase for yourself, it's kind of fun to try on these old hats, and that's another fun way to date them. This is almost like a revival bonnet when you look at this straight on with the underbrim. Anyway, keep loving those hats, and I'm going to follow up with some more videos, and thank you for watching, and